sitting on my computer, there's a high chance you will catch me on the Just Dropped at Sephora page, where I look at all of the new makeup that arrived at Sephora, seeing what I need to check out, what I'm interested in, what is hot and popular. So for today's video, I'm going to do a full face of Just Dropped at Sephora products. Some of these are first impressions and some of these are new impressions. Like, I've tried these before, but they're still pretty new to Sephora. Now, the tools that I'm going to be using for all of the makeup applications today, since I always get asked questions, is from BK Beauty. You may have heard of BK Beauty because not only do they keep going viral, but BK Beauty is also founded by Lisa J Makeup over here on YouTube, which you should check out her channel if you haven't already. She's a former pro makeup artist, and she has created one of the best brush brands out there. So they are actually having a sale on all of their YouTube creator collabs. From July 3rd to July 8th, you are able to get 20% off the YouTube creator collabs with the code YT20, and these YouTube creator collabs are always selling out, so they're going to be nice and restocked for this, and you can purchase these through YouTube shopping. So if you might have been living under a rock and haven't heard of BK Beauty brushes, they're 100% cruelty-free. They use vegan synthetic fibers, but they're really soft and luxe. You wouldn't even be able to tell, honestly. And if you watch my videos, I use their brushes every single video, because they create the most unique but useful shapes ever, that they are one of a kind, and they now hold a permanent place in my makeup routine for that perfect application. So here are some of the sets that you can look into. First, they collaborated with YouTuber Angie Hot and Flashy to create this 7-piece brush set. And she created these shapes to specifically address mature skin needs. And a number of these are in my regular makeup routine. And if you love the set, and if you are traveling this summer, the Angie Hot and Flashy travel brush set and pouch is also a great pickup. First of all, this is one of the first pouches I've seen of this shape, and I've been traveling with this. This is a genius shape because it's so thin. It fits in suitcases really easily, and then you just have your brushes, and you can literally set this on your table and it's already open and standing for you to pick out your brushes. You don't need to lay them flat. The brushes are also shorter in length, same brush head, and then you can strap them in here if you want, or you can put other things, but I love this pouch. Obsessed with the pouch, actually. And then the brushes are also great. I think this is my favorite. You can also get your hands on the Nikki LaRose Pro Artist Series. These were created by a pro makeup artist, and they're multitasking. There's so many ways you can use these brushes, so I'll definitely incorporate some of these in today's video. They're also soft and lovely. And then, of course, Risa Does Makeup did a collab with eyelashes, which are also really beautiful. She has some half lashes that are really easy to put on and are beautiful and just enhance the look. So again, this is going to be happening from July 3rd to July 8th. You can get 20% all of these creators collabs with the code YT20. We'll have them linked down below, available in my YouTube shop for you to click through. So thank you to BK Beauty for working with me on this video. Let's get into the makeup. For complexion, both of these are new products to me, so I don't know if they're going to be the official complexion for the look today, but we're going to mess around with them. We have a new product from Benefit that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about, but I definitely wanted to check it out. This is the Do La La Liquid Glow. I also have a different highlighter that I'm going to be putting over top of the makeup, so I wanted to see how this sat on bare skin. I saw a demo that they did on TikTok where they put this on bare skin, and I thought it looked really beautiful. I have the shade Luna. I feel like they're going with a different vibe for this packaging. Maybe a little bit of a rebrand happening here. So this is how it looks. It looks like a little bit lotiony, feels lotiony. I'm just going to put it on the high points of my face to see what it does. Oh, this is really hydrating. It's very, very natural. Yeah, I cannot see this putting over top of makeup. This is almost like a base, if you ask me, because of how hydrating and how it soaks into the skin. But the glow, not super visible. I think this is a product that's kind of prettier on bare skin. I don't really know about it over makeup because I just don't think it's going to show, but on a no makeup day, patting this on the skin will be really beautiful just to add a little bit of glow to the face. I would put it all over my face, But I really want to see how this new Fenty Skin Hydra Visor Hues Tinted Moisturizer is. This has SPF 30. I've already put mine in the refill, but you can use the bottle without the refill if you want. It's not necessary to purchase the actual case for it, but this is what it looks like when it's inserted into the case. Okay, let's put her on. I don't know if I'm going to end up going for a different foundation today. I just want to see how much coverage this gives. I have this in shade number 1. I'm going to use the BK Angie Hot and Flashy A101 brush for foundation. It's a nice fat brush. And I like a brush for tinted moisturizers because it gets the maximum amount of coverage from it. As much as I know a tinted moisturizer is intentionally sheer, I got some discoloration, so I do like to maximize coverage with a product even if it is intentionally sheer. This brush works so fast because of its large size to spread the product out. You know what? We have some coverage with this. We got way more coverage than I was expecting. Don't get me wrong, it's light. It definitely has a dewy, glowy look like a typical tinted moisturizer would have, and it evened everything out. That looks really pretty. Lately, Fenty has been coming out with some hits. Because before, I mean, I've always liked Fenty. They've always had an impressive line of products, but some would be hit or miss for me. And lately, I just feel like they are hitting the nail on the head with the quality of their products. They also just launched their Soft Lit Foundation, which is quite literally, not exaggerating, my new favorite foundation. So I was curious about this. But it's not going to pry the soft lit out of my hands by any means, but this could be a good summer option since it does have SPF 30. I'm going to go a little heavy with my concealer today so we can get a look with some coverage. But no, on a light makeup day, how pretty is this? I went with a little bit of a lighter layer on this side, so it really is only buildable to a heavy side of light coverage. Then you can get super light coverage. It feels pretty hydrating on my skin. I will say the side where the product was applied a little bit heavier, it feels a little bit heavier. I think this is a less is more kind of product. But for a quick little tint on the face, so far it looks beautiful. Of course, this is just the first impressions. So make sure you guys stay subscribed to my YouTube channel because I do have a series that I post called Speed Reviews where all of the products that I try for the first time and more go into a specific drawer, and then I come back and review it in my speed reviews to give you my final thoughts after using it more than one time. Guaranteed you'll hear about this again, but for what it is and for what the claims are, I think they were right on with it. It's a beautiful tinted moisturizer. It doesn't look drying on my skin. It's not clinging on to any dry patches. You know what, as I get a little bit closer, I'm seeing a little bit of clinging on to the hairs of my face, but I just pressed it out and it looks fine. So that might just be with swiping. This might do good if you're using a brush with more patting motions. And that kind of pushes it into the skin more. Very glowy. Gotta be looking for glow if you want to use this. I'm gonna go a little bit ham with concealer today just to get us some more coverage for the look I'm envisioning. So the newest concealer that I have my hands on is the Rephr concealer. I'm not loving it. This is not my first impressions. It's not terrible, but we'll talk about it. I have mine in the shade 06. And I'm going to use the Angie Hot and Flashy A506. This brush, they call it a kitten paw brush. The most amazing shape for concealer. 90% of the time that I apply my concealer, it's using this brush because the shape is so perfect, and since you're using a brush, you are getting the most coverage out of the concealer. Now, the concealer I don't feel like wears the best. It travels too much. It almost doesn't set down. So I'm just pressing it underneath the eyes, and it also doesn't smooth. It always looks a little bit drying, I feel. Fortunately, this has not been on my loves list. I have not yet gotten to put it in a speed reviews because I've been looking to like it better. I don't know, like I'm ready to put this in my speed reviews video because I've used it enough to know I don't like it. But I'm just looking for a day that surprises me so that I can have something good to say, but I'm still waiting. I'm going to take a little bit of the concealer on the A505 from Angie's collaboration. This is a stiff brush, and I like to use a brush like this to clean up under the brows just to make everything look really fresh. Another good brush for this purpose is the Nikki LaRose N11. It is on a slight angle, but I feel like that makes it really easy to just draw that line underneath. And then just to kind of press in the concealer some more, I'm going to use the N14 brush from the Nikki LaRose collection. When I want a lighter coverage concealer, I will use this to blend it out because it gives it more sheer coverage, and I really like this brush for liquid products and pushing those out. So really like this on a natural makeup day for concealer. Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but it just looks dry on my under eyes. I don't love this concealer. I do have a new liquid bronzer to test out from Cali Ray. I feel like Cali Ray is such an underrated brand. It's the Sun Drip Skin Boosting Peptide Serum Bronzer. Let's check this baby out. So here's what it's looking like. I just want to see how it's going to blend out. Okay, it has a little bit of pigment here. You could probably use this as a bronzing primer because it is a serum feel. I'm going to use the Nikki LaRose N17 brush. There's two different types of fibers here, and this is a really great shape for a light layer of liquid product on the cheek. I use this brush for bronzer, for blush, powder, or liquid. So this is one of the most versatile brushes. You can even use this for light coverage foundation. I'm liking this liquid bronzer. It's blending out beautifully. It's nice and sheer, but it still gives enough pigment to where it's not pointless. It gives a lot more than the new Makeup by Mario. It has this cooling sensation when applied, and it left the most beautiful bronze. And then there is a little bit of a dew around the face, not a metallic glow that emphasizes any fine lines, but it's just a healthy dew, not too much. Oh, this is going to be nice for a more natural liquid bronzer. This is really pretty. I'm liking this. I'm also going to do a new liquid blush. Not new to me, I've tried this a few times, but it's still a pretty brand new product. ABH also just launched a new one that I want to get my hands on, but this is the Huda Beauty Blush Filter. I'm going to use the shade Peach Sorbet, and these are extremely easy to use. They were formulated to pretty much blend out with your eyes closed. It has this unique hourglass shape applicator, and it smells delightful. So I'm just going to do a little bit. I'm going to use the same N17 brush, just flipped it over to the other side, and I'm going to push this into the skin. And these have a good buildable pigment to them, and they do blend out just as easy as Huda said that they would. I like to work one cheek at a time with this formula, just so nothing dries too quickly, because this does have a little bit of a set down. But these are a really easy to use liquid blush formulation. If you're a little bit scared or inexperienced with liquid blushes, this is a good formula to begin with because it does sheer out. It doesn't get funky with any product underneath. I think they did a really nice job with this product. So this one is definitely worth the money. Okay, let's set the face with a little bit of powder. So not a bunch of new setting powders. One Size did just expand their color range of their ultimate setting powder. So they launched like a marigold shade, a really orangey-ish shade, I can't remember the name at the top of my head, and Ultra Peach is the one that I kept for myself. Unfortunately, Ultra Peach, which was the lightest of the three that launched, it still is a little bit too dark for me. I have plenty of shades that match me from this powder line, so I think this would work best starting at a medium skin tone. But if you've been looking for a peach powder, a very yellowy powder, and a very orangey powder, One Size does have these new colors. And this is a best-selling powder, so I know a lot of people are happy about it. Now, Ultra Peach, the newest shade, does not look good on me, so just for video's sake, I'm going to reach for the shade Translucent. This is a heavy-duty powder. I have dry skin, so my use of this is pretty minimal of how much product I like to have. So I'm going to quickly take my A506 brush, press out my under eyes, and then I'm gonna reach for the N15 from the Nikki LaRose collection. Really soft brush. And I'm just gonna use a little bit because this is heavy duty on dry skin. If you have oily skin, powder up. Set with it. Bake with it. For me, to get the best use out of it, just getting a little bit into the brush, really digging it in here, tapping off the excess, and just pressing on the skin, focusing it on the center of the face and the under eyes. I like to get it over my pores to kind of smooth those out, but I'm going to keep it minimal. If you have oily skin though, this is going to be a really nice powder, and I'm happy to see them expanding the range. Now to set my liquid bronzer, which doesn't feel really too wet, but I like to have a powder in the summer because right around my hairline is where I get sweaty. YSL just launched the craziest priced bronzer, but it's so silky and good. So purchase at your own risk, but I wouldn't regret spending $60 on this, but I'm also crazy. So this is the All Hours Hyper Bronze. I'm going to use the shade 02. And I'm grabbing for the A507, which is the perfect angled cheek brush. I love this for powder blush. I'm just going to use it today to set my bronzer and really get it into the hairline. This bronzer is silk, like the definition of silk. You get no fallout with it, but it has a buildable level of pigment that you can apply with it. I'm just keeping this more so on the outskirts, like I said, near my hairline, just to set that. And I think what is most impressive about this bronzer is the shade 01. If you are very, very fair, this bronzer color, I feel like it's not going to pull orange. I'm not speaking from experience, but I think that this is the perfect bronzer for somebody with fair skin. If you've tried it and you have very, very fair skin, can you confirm or deny? But silky application, buildable pigment. It doesn't get splotchy where you apply it. It doesn't leave a brush mark where you apply it. You don't need to spend $60 on a bronzer, but it's beautiful. And I think before we get into highlighter, we can get into the eyes. So I was looking at the new eyeshadow palettes at Sephora. Honestly, was not moved by any of them other than the Natasha Denona Golden palette, of course. This is an awesome pickup at Sephora if you're on the hunt and you love neutrals and gold tones. I have been enjoying using this as a one and done eyeshadow palette. Well, two and done. I'll use a brown in the crease and one of the shimmery gold shades all over the lid, and it always looks exceptional. But I've definitely done this palette justice on my channel. I've done a lot of tutorials, so I'm gonna cheat. I'm not going to use this palette from Sephora, but I wanted to try a palette for a while now from ColourPop, and it's the Beauty and the Beast palette. And lately I feel like the ColourPop palettes have been a little hit or miss for me, but tell me that this palette does not remind you of the gold palette. Now we have a couple other pops of color, but right? So I was like, this is the perfect opportunity since I don't want to use the Natasha Denona Golden palette again on my channel. I'm going to try this one and see what I think. Okay, interesting look that I ended up with. I don't know if I like it, but I'm going to use some of the Milani Eye Primer. But I really just wanted to test some of the quality of these colors. And I'm using the BK Beauty N16 brush. I really like this for blending liquids and creams on the eye because I don't want to get my finger any more icky than it already is. And then I'm using the N13 brush, and I'm going into the shade Kind Hearted, and I'm just going to blend this all over the crease, like so. This is going to start off as a really nice, easy transition color. The mattes in this palette are phenomenal, you guys. I'm going into Beast now, which is just a little bit warmer, and I'm going to keep it a little bit lower, but you'll see this adds a lot more warmth to the look, and then it's going to begin to build our depth. I'm taking the A502, which is a nice tight blending brush. I'm going into Beast again, that warm shade, and I'm running it along the lower lash line. Next, I'm taking the A501, and I'm going into West Wing. Now this shade I'm the most impressed by. It can be intimidating to put a shade this deep all over the eyelid, but this, effortless. Not messy, not splotchy, not patchy. It blends really easily. I'm using the N13 again just to soften the edges. Like, I almost just left the look here, but that would have been too boring. But for a simple smoky eye like this, that's all matte, this palette, whew, the mattes are incredible. I'm going to use an A504, which is an even tinier blending brush, really nice and tight, perfect for the lower lash line. I'm going into West Wing once more. And you can do some fun things with this palette. I just wanted to get the general like lay of the land with this palette and use some of the more basic shades. You can get some fun pops of color here. You can get a reddish rosy kind of look. And then I had to play with the shimmers even though I wanted to stop. This shade Belle looked really interesting because you can see the green shimmers. And so I thought it would look cool over the dark base because the green is showing through. Now it's not as creamy as I would like for it to be, so it's requiring some building up. It looks a little splotchy. If you ask me, it's just not what I was hoping it would be. But it's fine, we made it work. I probably wouldn't layer this over the brown if I were to go back and do this look again. And then I'm using Curious Mind, which is this really pretty coppery color. Again, I don't like the way that these shimmers layer over a dark matte. I bet you it would be prettier on its own, but they're almost too thin. They kind of struggle over these darker shades that I have. And I'm going back in with the original blending brush. We're just going to soften everything over, taking just a little bit more of West Wing, blending that out and up. And then I wanted a little bit of glow on the inner corner, so I'm taking the N12 brush, which is nice and tight and small, perfect for the inner corner highlight. So I'm using Wild Imagination, and I'm just pressing that in here, and a little bit on the lower lash line and the inner tear duct. Can even use this under here. These aren't the smoothest shimmers. Like, they look a little bit piecey, I feel like. I almost want to like blend them in and push them into the skin a little bit more. And then I took the brush, A505, that I used to clean up under the brows, and whatever is left, I could kind of use just to clean up. To throw on the ground across the room. I use that to kind of clean up and sharpen the edge. I'm going to take the N11 brush, that's that angled flat top brush, and I'm taking West Wing. Might regret this because it's going to be a little bit on the messy side, but I don't have a setting spray near me. So patting off the excess, I'm just going to press this on the upper lash line to work as a nice soft eyeliner. Since I do already have this shade all over the eyelid, it's not going to stand out too much, but just like you can see that little bit of extra definition that's added to the eye. If you want to use, and I would recommend using a setting spray, that'll make it not only darker, but it will stick better too, last longer, and look like actual eyeliner. So I'm pretty new to this palette. I have my socks still on. They haven't been knocked off by this palette, but the mattes were really quite impressive. I'll continue to test this. It will be in an upcoming palette rankings video after I have collected more. I'm going to go back into my N15 brush. I'm going to take just a little bit more powder on my brush, and I'm going to try and sweep away some of the fallout that I've had. So having some of the powder on the brush is going to stop the brush from pushing in the glimmer particles. So it will move the glimmer particles instead of pushing it even further into the makeup. I do have a new mascara from a new brand at Sephora that I'd never heard before. They sent this to me in PR, but I don't know. I feel like it might be good. We'll see. It's from the brand Iris and Romeo, and it's the Lash Up Peptide Thickening Mascara. I wouldn't take my mascara review too seriously today because I feel like it's hard to tell what I think about a mascara after the first use. Well, let's see what the first impressions say. Very luxe heavy packaging. It has a nice curve to it. Let's see. I like a curved wand like this because I feel like it applies easily when you go curve in, and then when you have curve up, It helps push the lashes up, and this is looking really good. It's giving some nice thickness to the lashes without getting clumpy, and it's building up rather nice. Huh. This is a more positive first impressions than I have for most mascaras. I'll need to see how it dries, so then I can curl it to see if it holds the curl. But it gives really nice thickness. And now even with just a little bit of mascara, I feel like the eyeshadow look so fun. And it's building up really nice too. It's giving me length as I go in for that second coat. Okay. It's a bit thick for my lower lashes, but that's a me problem. I'm gonna go ahead and give this a few minutes to dry down. You know what? While this mascara dries, I'm going to use the new Patrick Ta highlighters. I have some thoughts on this. I've done a full review. If you want to check it out, I've also done a few short form content. I have 3 shades, 2 came shattered, so I'm stuck with using the shade Baby, even though my look isn't very pinky. This would look better with a whole pinky look, but it's the only one that's in one piece at the moment. My biggest piece of advice, don't apply the cream first, apply it after, because when I applied the cream first and then powder over top, I looked like a lizard. It was so scary. So I'm going to use the N14 brush. That's what I like to use for concealer, but it's also a great shape for a highlighter. And this is a pretty sheer highlight. It gives a really natural glow. I like it. I think it's fine. I don't think it's anything majorly unique, but it's a nice subtle shine in there. I'm going to build it up just a little bit more. I think it can look a little glittery if you are not into that. So just be warned. But overall, that gives a subtle glow. It's okay. I don't think this is worth the money, honestly. I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm going to take my finger into the cream now. Now, the creams are inconsistent. I got the shade Sugar, and I've heard from a lot of other people that Sugar is really wet. It's like a lip gloss almost. It's really messy and goopy. So I don't know if that's a problem like in the factories or what, but at least this one came intact. But this is actually really nice if you're into that dewy highlighter look. It's not my jam because my hair will kind of stick to it because it doesn't set down. But in terms of the quality, if you really want that wet look, this is awesome because it doesn't move any makeup you have underneath, and it really amplifies the powder and gives it that wet look. But again, not really my jam of what I'm looking for in a product, but for what it is, this is a really good balm as long as you don't get the one that's really goopy. But look at that. That really amplified it. So I really wouldn't recommend these. These aren't on my radar. They aren't a product that I'm going to continue using. I'm a little disappointed because Patrick Ta creates such beautiful products, and that one did absolutely fall short, and I feel like they put so much into the marketing for it, and I was really excited, and it just isn't my cup of tea. Mascara has dried down. I'm going to add a little curl to it. Look at that. Look at the difference that it makes when you curl after. Super important. And hopefully the lashes don't fall. I used to be for years too scared of doing this, but as long as your mascara is fully dried, it's not going to pull your natural lashes out. But it feels really light. I am a huge fan of this mascara. Like, my lashes look really, really nice. Even my lower lashes look pretty nice. Ooh, I'm so excited to move on to lips. The newest lip liner that I have in my hands that's available at Sephora is the Glossier Lip Line, an overdue product if you ask me from Glossier. These are incredible. I believe I've already given my speed reviews final thoughts on these. That's how quickly I came to the conclusion that I love these. So these are great because they have a nice creamy application and they set down. They last such a long time. What differentiates this from other lip liners, if you ask me, is it has almost a blurred effect on the lip. So in Glossier fashion, these are supposed to be more natural because Glossier is a natural brand, so they went off of natural lip and nipple colors to create these shades. I'm gonna start off with the shade Buff, which is a really natural kind of contoury shade. And also to stay in the natural way that they are. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is a defined line, but it's not as defined as I get with other lip liners. It's almost a more sheer light layer, so it has a subtle blurred effect. It's just more natural looking than most lip liners, but I don't, oh, jeez. Can't do this while I'm talking, but I don't mind that it's more natural because it still lasts a really long time. Overall, these are such an underrated launch. If you ask me, more people need to be talking about these because these lip liners last a long time, but they apply so easily. The color range is gorgeous, it's natural, it's true to Glossier. Definitely recommend these. I have a couple of lip products to go over because I couldn't choose just one. I was so excited about both of these guys that just arrived at Sephora. So the first one we'll try is a lip gloss. Just dropped the box on my face. I was hoping it didn't ruin anything. Gisou just launched a new honey-infused lip oil shade in Coconut Frost, and it looks stunning. So I love these lip oils. I think that the glow and glitter ones are stunning. They have the most gorgeous reflection against light. And this is just another glimmery, shimmery one. I couldn't wait. I love this. The other colors I have in this line has been put in my favorites because I love it. Smells like coconut, which I'm not a big coconut fan, but and it's sheer and milky, so it's gonna go over any color. You know, I don't really like this color on bare lips. Definitely needs something underneath, but what's annoying about it is that your spoolie gets dirty. But look at that gleam against the light. Stunning. I love this lip oil. It's on the thinner side, which is funny that I like this because I don't normally like a lip oil on the thinner side. But there's just something about the way that these look on the lips that I love. So, you know what? If I get a lip stain underneath and kind of let it fade, and then put this on top, whew, that would be pretty. Probably not a color that I'm going to use the most because the milkiness I don't think is necessarily the most flattering, but I love this lip oil and I'm excited for it. I need more glittery colors. Gisou, more glittery colors, please. Wiping that off because this is really what I was most excited to try. If you watch my videos, you know my all-time favorite lip oil, speaking of lip oils, is Clarins. So it really has made Clarins as a brand get on my radar because their lip oil was so good. So they just launched these new guys at Sephora. They're the Lip Oil Balm. Let's try a couple different colors. So first we have 01. So naturally, if I love the lip oil, I should love the lip oil balm, right? It has the same scent as the lip oils. Now, one thing I love about the OG lip oils is how thick they are. To me, this feels more lip balm than it feels more lip oil. This packaging is beautiful. 01 didn't do much. It added like a subtle sheen to the lips, and it feels quite hydrating. Doesn't do too much. Let's just wipe this lip liner off, honestly. Let's try number 2 because this looks like it gives more pigment. I think I've tried this before. I must have when I first got it in the mail because I was excited. Yeah, okay. It's giving more tinted balm than tinted oil. It has a little bit of extra shine compared to a typical lip balm. But definitely tinted lip balm vibes. Not bad at all. But I just love the lip oil so much. So I'm like, this isn't like the lip oil. But it does feel quite hydrating. And this color, quite pretty. We'll just try them all. Number 3 looks more muted. That's pretty. That's definitely more on the wearable side. Okay. Let's try the deepest one. There must be a number 4. I don't have it in front of me. So we're skipping over to number 5, which is the deepest one that I have. Buildable pigment. So like you can get this sheer reddish color. Gotta build it up. To get that almost like bitten popsicle look. That's really pretty. Anyways, not in love with these, but they're nice. Let me do a whole lip look though. Flush from Glossier. How's that? And blurring it into the lip. And then redefining the outline. Then we're gonna do a hint of shade 3 for hydration. Okay, pretty. And then because I can't help it, we're gonna use the coconut honey infused lip oil. Really pretty. Then I gotta make sure, clean off the doe foot. That's a pretty lip. So an interesting array of products we had for today's video. We had some major hits, we also had some misses and some ehs here. But remember, no matter what makeup you're working with, a way to elevate your makeup routine and the way that the products sit and look, it is with really good tools. So I will also have all of the BK Beauty brushes that I used in today's video available for you to check out. And then a reminder, from July 3rd to July 8th, you can get 20% off of the creator collabs that I mentioned, on sale for 20% off if you use the code YT20, available in the YouTube shop. And thank you, BK Beauty, for supporting me so that I can support you guys. Anybody looking to upgrade their tools, highly recommend BK Beauty. You won't regret it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you've tried any of the products mentioned in today's video, let me know your thoughts and experiences with them. And make sure you subscribe to my channel to see these products featured in an upcoming speed reviews, where I will give you my final thoughts after using these some more. So make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye guys, have a good one.